Hello, class, and welcome to our presentation. Our case was iRobot. My name is Carlos, and I, along with Josie, Catherine, Amanda, and Jacob, are going to be taking you through this case today. Here's an outline of the presentation showing who's going to be covering the different topics. I'm going to be starting with the company background. So, iRobot was founded in 1990 by Colin Angle, Helen Grenier, and Rodney Brooks. Surprisingly, iRobot did not start in the household vacuum business, but they started designing robots for space exploration, mine detection, and remote scouting. They had many contracts with the United States government as well as other large organizations that needed robots. So in 2002, iRobot introduced Roomba, which was what they're known for now, their first self-vacuuming robot. In 2005, iRobot went public, and they were the first robot manufacturer to do so, which is quite the achievement. From 2005 to 2016 is a pretty big gap, but in this period, iRobot is pursuing both their defense and security robots as well as their household robots. So it wasn't until 2016 that iRobot decided to divest its defense and security robot business and focus solely on the household robot. And in 2017, we can see that iRobot continues to pursue this by expanding their markets and creating international relationships with countries such as France, Japan, and China. Next, I'm going to be passing it off to Josie to cover the vision and mission.
Hi everyone, my name is Josie, and today I'll be going over the vision and mission statements for iRobot as well as the goals, strategies, and objectives. So, first of all, at the core of iRobot's values is creating a product that makes their customers' life easier and more efficient. So, for the vision statement, iRobot is the leading global consumer robot company. It designs and builds robots that empower people to do more both inside and outside of the home. For the vision, we are committed to fostering invention, discovery, and technological exploration in the pursuit of practical and valuable robot products for the home. So the vision statement is more of where they see the company as a whole, and the mission is almost like how to get there. But how are they going to get to both? Well, we are going to talk about their goals, objectives, and their strategies. As of 2018, iRobot has been the leading robot company for consumers, but they still are always striving to improve their products and to create and develop a product for all kinds of consumers. So their two goals is that they are striving to develop best-in-class technology and also to build a home that anticipates its owner's needs and maintains itself. To do this, they have a few objectives, which is to create an ecosystem of robots to build a smart home by improving these three main technological functions, which are mapping and navigation, human to robot interaction, and physical solutions. So, for mapping and navigation, this focuses more on um, making the robots more smart and more user friendly. For example, when you put one of the iRobot Roombas in a room, it takes a map view of the area just so it knows its surroundings and doesn't bump into anything. So, improving this will prevent the customer from having to follow it around or making sure it's not getting into any unwanted places. Human to robot interaction. This is about connecting iRobot's products to more products in the customer's home in order to develop a fully functional smart home that will make the customer's home um, more functional and more efficient to live in. Lastly, physical solutions. This is about designing and building a robot that has market leading cleaning mission performance and that would make the customer's life easier. This goes back to the core value and the reason why iRobot was founded, which was to make cleaning more efficient and to make it um, a quicker task for the customer so that they could do other things rather than spending time cleaning. So next I'm going to pass it over to Jacob to go over the business model.
Hello, my name is Jacob, and I'm going to be going over the business model for iRobot with you. iRobot has a consumer-focused business model and really delivers on the value of technology. Its propositions are the advanced technology that it offers, its mapping and navigation, and its specific user digital features that are above competitors and are unique to the iRobot brand. Its operations come from the suppliers to iRobot, from which it goes into a US and an international global market. It also offers public stock offerings from which it could also receive revenue. On the US side, one of its oldest customers is the US Army, for which it delivers robots to. It also works with Evolution Robotics Incorporated, a company that it purchased in order to expand its market power, a relationship with Amazon Web Services, and its own iRobot Home app in order to reach US customers and retrieve revenue. For the global market, iRobot has worked with companies such as Sales on Demand Corporation, the largest robotics company outside of North America, focused in Japan, and Robopolis, a company that helps iRobot get into Europe with Germany, Spain, Portugal, the Netherlands, Austria, France, and Belgium being some of the countries it reaches. These two relationships allow iRobot to reach the customers outside of the US market and bring in more revenue.
Thank you, Jacob. Now I'll be going over the company performance. First, we'll be looking at the financial performance. All these ratios are calculated from financials from the year 2017 and industry average, Samsung and LG. The sources for those are listed below. Starting with profitability, we see that iRobot is a profitable company, netting a profit margin of about 5.7%, which is very strong, well above the industry average. And looking at return on equity, and again, a very strong 10.84% above the industry average, and keeping up with the giants of Samsung and LG, who are, older companies and very, very big market capitalization companies. So that's a very strong return on equity, meaning that they're using their capital well. Moving on to liquidity, we see that they have, again, a very strong quick ratio above 1. This means that they can cover their current liabilities very easily, even without having to move any inventory. And next, moving on to the average collection period. Again, not much to say here. Very strong numbers, keeping up there with the giants of Samsung and LG, and well below the industry average, so showing that they are a leader. Moving on to leverage, which is very important. All the companies in this industry are very, very underlevered. That is to be seen a lot of times with technology companies. If I had to recommend something, I would recommend that they maybe take on a little bit more debt to increase their debt tax shield and either continue investing that into R&D or pay it back to their shareholders. But looking at the industry average and looking at their competitors, they're right around where they should be. But if they wanted to get more aggressive, they definitely could. Looking at debt to equity ratio, we see that those two numbers are very close together. So most of their capital is coming from equity. Moving on to activity, we see that their inventory turnover and their total asset turnover are both above 100%, which is very good. Again, with technology companies, it's easy for them to create a large amount of revenue with a small amount of investment. So these numbers are not completely out of the ordinary for the industry, but they're very strong numbers, keeping up with the giants of Samsung and LG. And again, looking at earnings per share, a little bit lower than the two big competitors, but still very strong. I couldn't find the industry averages for the activity or for the earnings per share, but from what we've seen so far, I assume that they're close to that benchmark. Moving on to strategic performance, iRobot is a market leader in every single one of its markets, which is very strong strategic performance. You can see there the size of the markets in millions of dollars. Their weakest market is the Asia Pacific market, but they still hold the biggest market share, with their closest competitor being Ecovax at 26%. So their outlook for their strategic performance is mostly based on a continued investment in research and development, mainly special focus on mapping and localization. So you see here the little diagram to the right. Being able to have a detailed map of the home not only allows them to perform a better vacuuming service, but also the very lucrative smart home market. All the smart home products need to be able to know what the home looks like and how it's structured, and Roomba is able to collect that data and provide it to the other services. So that's something that they could maybe charge for in the future, but something they're investing in heavily. Looking now at management characteristics. So here in the middle, I have how I perceived their corporate structure to be set up. So they have their management in the middle, and then they're separated geographically with the same products being pushed out to each geographic region. I also included research and development there in the middle because they're not trying to cater to each market necessarily, versus creating a very, very good product in the center and then pushing that out to as many markets as possible. And research and development is a huge part of their future. Looking at corporate culture, I just wrote down three terms that seem to be their core, which is innovation, adaptability, and a proactive outlook. So with innovation, they've been doing it from the beginning with their defense and security robots and their household robots, continuing to improve mapping, improve the hardware of the device and stuff like that. With adaptability, a great example is when they divested their security and defense business, right? They took a look at the factors that were affecting their business and decided that that was the best route to go, and they adapted very quickly. As we see from 2016 to 2017, they put a lot into that business right away and adapted very well. And that kind of plays into the proactive outlook as well, not being stuck, even though they were with that company for a long time. With that sector of their business for a long time, they eventually did divest it and have a proactive outlook to the future. Also, they have even though a lot of competitors are coming in, they are using that mapping technology as a way to keep their foot in the door for the smart home, because like I said, a lot of the smart home cannot work without the mapping technology or the map of the home. And now I'll be handing it off to Amanda.
Here, I will be going over the core competencies and capabilities of iRobot. iRobot is the holder of the most significant market share in the rapidly growing robotic vacuum industry. To maintain its market share, iRobot focuses on activities that it performs well and is central to its strategy and competitive success. Here, you will see a VRN test that will give assistance in displaying the use of iRobot's core competencies and capabilities. The first one shown is the capital allocations. To coincide with iRobot's plan of driving innovation in consumer robotics and connected hardware system, iRobot develops strategic alliances with entrepreneurs and early stage companies. The venture groups create strategic investments, syndications with top-tier VC firms, internal external resources, standard terms, faster investment decisions, and no special treatment or control. Venture groups also added value to consumer technology, service-based business models, recurring revenue streams, cloud services and infrastructure, computer vision, localization and mapping, machine learning and artificial intelligence, and robotic mobility and manipulation. Overall, making it very valuable for iRobot. The next one you'll see is technology, which leads to iRobot's focus on innovation, specifically through its mapping and navigation, user experience, and physical solutions. iRobot focuses on making its robotics user-friendly and capable of being interconnected with home devices. The integration of unique mapping capabilities, which aids the product in navigating its environment and completing tasks appropriately, is core to iRobot's long-term strategy. The assimilation of iRobot products in home devices will allow iRobot to insert familial products, developing a smart home ecosystem. The VRN test depicts that iRobot's technology is valuable, rare, and not easily substituted.
As for its intellectual property protection, iRobot uses the defense mechanism through its patents. To be specific, iRobot protects its concept of self-navigation vacuum cleaner, object avoidance, and other basic technology through its portfolio of 1,000 patents. The patents allow iRobot to file patent infringement lawsuits against competition that makes, uses, or sells the patented item without iRobot's consent. Through infringement lawsuits, iRobot can make the patent parts unsuitable for imitation or easily substituted. iRobot's intellectual property protection is the strongest in the VRN test, as it displays its value, rarity, difficulty to imitate, and not easily substituted. The protection of its intellectual property rights is what iRobot does best and could be considered its core competency. Next, we will go over the macro environment. Through the use of a Pastel analysis, we'll first go over the political factors. The intellectual property rights and protections in the macro environment are favorable. Meanwhile, the trade regulations and tariffs and bureaucracy involvement are rather unfavorable. The robotics industry faces adhering to trade regulations and tariffs between countries. One specific trade war that has been affecting the robotics industry is the United States-China trade war. China robotic products had US tariffs being applied to them as a means to stop China from acquiring dual-use technology. The application of this tariff could face repercussions on products being imported to China, as China could easily retaliate. And speaking of dual-use technology in both the military and civilian use poses a risk for the robotics industry and other countries as well. For example, iRobot had initially worked with the United States military in a series of contracts, which poses the risk of being contracted again, especially when you're in the technological field. As for the economic conditions, global GDP in 2018 has been favorable. According to the World Bank, it has increased to 86 trillion. The World Global Economic Forum depicts the United States makes up for 19.39 trillion at 24.4%, with China right behind at 12.24 trillion with a 15.4%. To be more specific, the robotic vacuum cleaner market size in 2018 was valued at $1.84 billion and forecasted to increase to $4.98 billion by 2025. Furthermore, the inflation rate is projected at an annual rise of 2.24%, which is moderate and is favorable. On the other hand, the macro environment is facing price-conscious consumers, which is unfavorable, especially for iRobot, who is on the higher end pricing. As for social-cultural forces, there has been shifting lifestyles and social behavior when it comes to cleaning activities, which is favorable. One ethnographic study found that families who used robotic vacuum cleaners had cleaned more than those who used traditional means. This was affected by role, gender, and generation, in which elders moved more towards a more opportunistic cleaning style, while men and children took a more active role when cleaning. With the lifestyle changes, this will definitely be beneficial to this market. In addition to this, there's been an increase in disposable income in the United States. As for the technological factors, research and development leads to improvements to existing processes which efficiently can be increased and which efficiency can be increased and cost reduced, as well as develop new products and services. In a fast-paced environment of the technology enhancement, R&D is favorable. It is also favorable as innovation and integration is on the rise with technologies such as mapping and navigation tools. As for the environmental forces, there has been an increase in waste management techniques, energy efficient vacuum cleaner demand, and inclusion of air filters, which is favorable to this market. With consumer knowledge of cleaner and greener solutions, the robotic vacuum cleaner industry can benefit through its technology. On the other hand, severe weather changes could affect the industry and iRobot, who is established on a global scale, especially when technological parts could come from other countries. As for the legal and regulatory factors, the macro environment regarding this can find uses through patents, lawsuits, and settlements, and consumer data protection laws. Patents in this environment are favorable to those who can establish them, as it is a means to discourage entry and imitation. However, it is important to note that when operating on a global scale, many countries have different legalities when it comes to patents and informational technology protection. This was one of the issues that was into the political side of the United States and China trade war. As for the lawsuits and settlements, it can be seen as unfavorable, as it still takes time and money despite its favorable outcomes, and it is heavily endured with modernization as well. Lastly, the consumer protection laws bring to question the information received on the robot products and the sharing of its information. And despite the core reason of the law, technological industries such as the robotics is having a hard time to educating its consumers about the legal rights or incorporate a disclosure agreement as a means of protection. Data collected at one point in time could hold future legal issues despite consent and consumer data protection laws, because they are typically a source of debate in society. And that is all for our pastel analysis today. Catherine and Josie will take over the next part.
Hello everyone, my name is Kat, and I will be going through iRobot's industry and competitors. The industry iRobot falls in is the small electrical appliance manufacturing industry, or NICS code number 3352110. Within this industry, it comprises of establishments primarily engaged in manufacturing small electric appliances and electric housewares, household-type fans except attic fans, household-type vacuum cleaners, and other electric household-type floor care machines, according to the NICS Association. iRobot, in simpler terms, falls under the robotic vacuum industry, helping their consumers find efficient ways to clean and accomplish their cleaning tasks through advanced and cutting-edge technology. Moving on to the driving forces, one of the driving forces in the robotic vacuum industry is the high demand in robotic technology that helps consumers accomplish more in their daily lives, especially for those ages 65 and older who may have a harder time trying to accomplish cleaning tasks around their home. Some end users may find it difficult to do laborious cleaning tasks due to age or physical conditions that prevent them from cleaning their home. Thus, robotic vacuums are in high demand within this category. Another driving force is improved functionality and performance. Due to advancements and improvements in technology, the robotic vacuum industry has developed automated and highly advanced robotic vacuum cleaners. These vacuums can operate autonomously without the owner having to control the vacuum at all times. These products are engineered to ensure that cleaning tasks are to be done efficiently and effectively. Thus, the technological advancement and improvement within robotic vacuums generate high demand amongst end users. The next driving force is high competition amongst other vendors such as UV RoboVac, and Dyson. Competition amongst these companies are fierce due to the variety of services and capabilities other competitors may offer. As for the industry key success factors, product innovation is paramount for companies in the robotic vacuum industry. Robotic vacuums contribute a lot of their success to investing in research and development to engineer innovative and advanced technology that can aid in gaining competitive advantage. iRobot has released robotic vacuums that are capable of UV sterilization, spinning brushes, security cameras, internet connectivity, voice response, app features, and mapping features. These types of capabilities are what consumers are looking for to purchase for their home. Products that can help consumers accomplish daily tasks while saving time and improving the quality of life. Moving on to the industry trend in the robotic vacuum industry, it is expected to positively grow in the coming years. According to the robotic vacuum industry market trend, it is poised to grow by USD $3.7 billion during 2020 through 2024, progressing at a compound annual growth rate of almost 18% throughout the forecast period, according to the latest report by Technavio. This is all due to the high demand for automated robot vacuum cleaners, changing lifestyles, high disposable income, the rise in purchasing power, and the ease of technological usage. According to Grandview Research in 2020, in regards to revenue, floor vacuum cleaners dominated the market with a share of 82.4% in 2019 and is expected to witness the fastest growth over the forecast period. I will now be handing over the presentation to Josie.
Hi everyone, so I will be going over the 5 forces analysis as well as the competitor analysis. So for the 5 forces analysis, we went ahead and ranked each force at a scale of 1 to 5, 1 meaning that it's not a big force in the company, and 5 meaning that it's a pretty big force. So for number 1, we have competition, which is ranked at a 5, just because there are many competitors in this industry. These competitors are companies that offer similar products, and sometimes they are for a lesser price, which a lesser price does usually attract a consumer. And then for number 2, threat of new entrants is also at a 5. In 2017, there were many competitors in the floor care market, which did raise competition a lot. One of these competitors was Shark Ninja Operating LLC. It does offer very similar products for around the same price point as iRobot also. Number 3 is the power of suppliers, which is ranked at a 4. iRobot does depend heavily on suppliers in order to make their products. So because of that, the company takes suppliers into consideration when pricing. So if suppliers were to raise the prices of their items, then iRobot would have to raise their prices also, just to increase revenue and increase profit. And then for number 4 is the power of buyers. They are at a 5. Buyers often try to look for the best product at the lowest price. Buyers obviously affect demand. So if iRobot is raised at a higher price, it is possible that demand will go down. And then for number 5, threat of substitutes is also at a 5, just because there are many competitors with similar products, and many would consider iRobot as a want item rather than a need item. So when you look at the floor care market, the floor cleaning market, many people would rather go for maybe a regular vacuum or maybe even just a broom. That is why iRobot is trying to make products for everyone, even people who see iRobot as a want item, instead, just to make their life easier, more effective, and they really are trying to advertise that their products will make their lives more efficient. So then we'll go ahead and move into the competitor analysis. As I said, there are many competitors in this market. We went ahead and did a ranking and a competitor map of 5 companies. One of them is iRobot, and then we went ahead and laid them out on the map according to average price as of late 2017 and ranking as of late 2017. So one of the highest competitors for iRobot is going to be Eufy. So they are at about the same ranking as iRobot, but they are at a lower price point than iRobot as of 2017, of course. Shark is ranked pretty low, and they also have a low price. This may attract consumers just because of the low price, not necessarily because of the ranking. And Nito is also almost in the same area as iRobot with around the same price point and around the same ranking. iRobot is ranked a little bit higher. And then there's Dyson in the middle with a pretty high price point. So then lastly, we went ahead and did the competitive strength assessment, where we compared three companies, iRobot, Shark, and Dyson, with their capabilities, their positions, and their performance. So we went ahead and rated them from a scale of 1 being very weak to 10 very strong. Just to highlight a few points, in product performance, iRobot was ranked at an 8, Shark at an 8, and Dyson at a 7. Where they were ranked pretty similarly was new product innovation capability. They were all ranked at an 8, just because each company does or is still striving to make new products and put them out in the market, just because each company does want to be the best and have the best products out there on the market. relative cost position is right here. Shark is kind of in the middle. Dyson is, they have a very high cost. So that's why they're ranked at number 2. And iRobot is fairly on the lower side of the cost spectrum. So they are ranked at a number 5. So then after going ahead and taking the weighted score, we see that iRobot has the strongest strength number, whereas Dyson is at 2nd place and Shark is at a 3rd place right here. So next I'll go ahead and pass it over to Kat so that she can go ahead and talk to you guys about the SWOT analysis.
Now moving on to the SWOT analysis. iRobot has been one of the best leading robotic vacuum companies in its industry due to its strengths. iRobot has displayed innovative designs, engineering intelligent and automated technology that can contribute significantly to people's lives. iRobot has created their RoboVacs to be user-friendly so that consumers are able to navigate the product easily and as well as utilize its unconventional capabilities such as mapping and navigation to provide spatial context to purposely navigate the home. They not only have created vacuums, but as well as other cleaning technologies, such as their Brava automatic floor mopping robots that have the ability to clean hard surface floors, only priced at $299. Their Mirror Pool cleaning robot that is designed to clean any type of in-ground residential pool, priced at $999.99 as of February 2018. And their Luge gutter cleaning robot that is designed to clean gutters and sold for $299.99 as of February 2018 as well. iRobot has also gained the competitive edge, selling products at a cheaper price compared to its competitors so that consumers can enjoy the luxury of owning their own robotic cleaning technology without the expense of a high price tag, such as iRobot's Roomba RoboVac costing as low as $375. Although iRobot has been successful, iRobot also has its own weaknesses. Privacy concerns were amongst their biggest weaknesses, and in today's world, obtaining information can be as easy as searching up your inquiry on a search engine. Thus, most people are more often protective of their privacy. iRobot products have capabilities of sharing data information with companies such as Google, Apple, and Amazon. Although consumers have the option to opt out of cloud sharing data, iRobot's terms of services and privacy policy explicitly states that the company has rights to share the user's personal information. Global penetration was also one of iRobot's weaknesses. iRobot's global penetration of their robotic vacuums were only 10%, and iRobot had about 60% market share, but several serious competitors had emerged and in many cases offered similar products at much lower prices. This global penetration is considered low for the robotic vacuum industry. iRobot, however, has created significant opportunities for its company. In November of 2005, iRobot became the first robot manufacturer to have a successful public stock offering. iRobot sold 4.3 million shares of stock at $24 and raised a whopping $103 million. iRobot also joined the market internationally, partnered with Robopolis, a French distribution company, to sell its products in Germany, Spain, Portugal, the Netherlands, Austria, France, and Belgium. iRobot focused on globalization as well, creating a globalization strategy in 2017. And in April of that year, the company acquired SODC, its distribution partner in Japan, and Robopolis, its French distribution partner that served Western Europe. iRobot continued to make advanced technology to improve the environment, such as their Sea Glider maritime robot that aided to monitor any oil leakages in the ocean, which was created following the BP Deepwater Horizon oil spill in the Gulf of Mexico. Of course, with opportunities comes threats. iRobot had many rivals as the industry and market started to grow, such as Eufy RoboVac, Nito Robotics, Dyson, and Shark. iRobot has a variety of RoboVacs that can be costly, such as iRobot's Roomba 960, which sold for $699, and being sold 3 times the amount of a Eufy RoboVac 11 that is only sold at a low cost of $299.99 on Amazon. In late 2017, Eufy RoboVac 11 was also titled the best budget buy. Nito Robotics also invested in their research and development, sharing the same capabilities of a Roomba. Nito's BotVac Connected was capable of Wi-Fi connectivity and can sync with smart home products as well. Dyson Technology is one of iRobot's greatest competitors due to its innovation. Dyson's 360i had twice the suction of any robotic vacuum cleaner, which was controlled by the Dyson Link app and would respond to voice commands, and was equipped with a camera that could map the rooms in which it was used. Thus, serves a threat to iRobot due to Dyson holding similar capabilities as their products, and even has capabilities that some may say are better than iRobot RoboVacs. Shark also innovated products that can reach further capabilities in iRobot RoboVacs, such as a Shark Ion 750. Compared to the Roomba 980, unless the home had deep shag carpet, the Shark 750 would be the one to buy. In March 2018, the Shark Ion 750 sold for as low as $340.82 on Amazon, compared to iRobot's Roomba 890 that sold for $160 more.
Here we will be briefly going over the major issues and problems that iRobot is currently facing. The first issue is the competitive risks. Recently, its competition has been using a reasonable price strategy to deter customers away from iRobot's pricing. With the lower pricing, consumers may no longer justify the pricing cost of purchasing an iRobot product, which leads to profit loss and market control. It also has the potential to lead supply and demand issues that could result in pricing wars. Another root cause is that of intellectual property protection. Despite having 1,000 patents in the iRobot name, iRobot will still have to closely monitor its intellectual property and privacy rights, as a lack of monetization leads to a lack of exclusivity and a loss of revenues. Patents can only do so much, especially when the company is running on a global scale. The second issue is something we briefly touched upon in the past. iRobot faces privacy concerns. Through its data, sharing iRobot is impacted by negative associations and lack of consumer knowledge, which could lead to a decrease in consumer acquirement and retention, as well as legal repercussions if done improperly. The case has also mentioned the terms of service and privacy policy issues. Despite the potential sale of personal information being unlikely to be discovered by consumers and its terms and conditions agreements, it still poses a risk of being discovered and spread throughout consumers who may lose trust in the company through hidden information. And once consumers have lost trust in a company, it is also oftentimes hard to repair or will take time, incurring more losses in profit and capabilities than would be necessary. Next, Jacob will be going over our strategic alternative recommendations.
So next we're going to look into the strategic alternative recommendations. The first problem was competitive risks, and the first alternative would be to let iRobot keep its prices the same and to focus more on sales for its other cost-effective products to combat the competition. The Roomba 614, for example, is a bottom-line product, but it performs all of the necessary functions and has all of the utilities needed that the consumers want, and only for $299.99. Products such as the Brava units can be sold for a cheap price and focus on other cleaning functions, such as mopping instead of vacuuming. And the Brava 240 only costs $199.99. This would allow iRobot to compete with companies such as Shark, who consumers said that they chose because they had everything that they wanted for a cheaper price. Most Roombas perform above and beyond Shark units, but because of the high price are looked at as unnecessary. Focusing on these lower models of Roombas that offer the same amount of utilities as the Shark products would allow Roomba to compete once again and regain some of its marketing power. Looking at the pros and cons, these lower tier products will still represent a functionality at a reasonable price. This was the number one concern for consumers when choosing other brands over iRobot. iRobot will also be able to increase the robotic mopping marketing power while maintaining its vacuum position. There aren't many competitors for robotic mopping, and robotic vacuuming has become more and more frequent with competitors. Entering this new market would allow them to keep working on their vacuums, but also to increase the popularity for robotic mops. Also, robotic mops are not as competitive of a market overall, since mopping is genuinely a less broad category compared to the vacuuming. For the cons, there is potential for more market loss of the robotic vacuum market. Focusing on other types of products or focusing on lesser vacuums will take away the allure of the higher ends, like the Roomba 690. Costs will also have to be reallocated to focus on mop sales if they decided to choose that, or focus on the lower end products instead of focusing on the high end where they can retrieve more revenue. The vacuums are currently iRobot's best-selling products too, so focusing on mops or focusing on lower-end vacuums could hurt iRobot even more in the future if not treated carefully. Our second alternative would be to use the current awards, acclaims, and tech advantages of the Roombas to launch a promotional campaign justifying the pricing. 3 of the Roomba vacuums were listed in the top 10 robotic vacuums by PC Magazine, with the 690 model receiving a third-place spot. 800 series was selected as the runner-up, and iRobot had also won a DARPA, a Defense Advanced Research Project agency, for its robots, showing that the company's qualities are prestigious. The DARPA was won for its robots used in the US Army. However, it also shows how advanced the iRobot Roombas are and how much they are put together above the competition. Looking at the pros and cons for this alternative, iRobot would not have to adjust and lower its pricing. The promotion may also help consumers see the 690 series and the other Roomba models as paying for quality. It's typical in consumers to believe that the higher something is priced, the more quality is offered with the product. Promotion could help this and further the idea that the 690 series truly is the best option. And even though the Shark series offers a certain amount of amenities, the 690 offers more and would be a better option in the long run. Consumers will also be able to learn more about the features they are paying for, and consumer knowledge will lead to more of them purchasing the products. For the cons, an effective promotional campaign may be costly for iRobot. They may have to focus a lot of budget on these promotions in order to get the word out over competitors who also have a high promotion, such as Shark. Competitors could also use price as a selling point for their products over Roombas and undercut them on price, making the Roombas look expensive and unnecessarily so. Roomba also did not receive a top spot in any of these awards, so it could lead to publicity for the competition. When most people see that a robot got second place or third place, they tend to want to know which one got first and which is the best product out on the market. Even though Roombas did well, they did not do the best, so this could potentially hurt them. Our final alternative would be that iRobot can lower its prices of the more expensive products to be in line with consumer interests. Consumers have shown through a 16% drop in iRobot stock, they are motivated by price and are looking for a cost-effective product. This will allow the quality of iRobot's Roombas to compete with competitors and offer lower prices with lesser models. The pros of this are that iRobot would be offering quality Roomba models at an affordable price. Competitors won't be able to use price as a selling point since Roomba will have brought down its price to compete. iRobot will also try and regain some of the lost stock value that it had when Shark gained more popularity due to its lower prices. Some of the cons are that iRobot will lose out on some of the profit per unit sold for each Roomba. They still may make a profit, but they won't be making as much revenue due to the price drops. People will also look at price as reflective of the quality, as discussed in the last section, and devalue the products. If they lower the products of the Roombas, that shows that they were wrong initially overpricing it, and that the Roombas are really lesser of a value than the consumers originally thought. Price drops are also not guaranteed to return sales, as people may still go to Shark depending on what iRobot decides to do. So here's the SARS trade-off analysis composed. We weighted the alternatives based off of the effect they have on this problem. The problem itself being weighted the highest. Profit and market share were both weighted relatively more due to the fact that the reason that people were switching over to competition affects both the profit by them losing stock value and the market share, which is also due to the stock value and due to the increase in value for Shark and competitors. Customer satisfaction is the lowest rated in this quality due to the fact that it mostly has to deal with the sales and not as much on the other end of usage. When we weighted and compared based on importance and how it was positively impacted, the second solution was decided to be the best option to go through. For the second problem being privacy concerns, the first alternative was to create an extra protective account system that requires user and password verification to access home mappings. With the privacy, people were concerned that iRobot was selling their data and looking at the home mappings, invading on their privacy. By creating an extra protective account for them only to access and for others requiring a password to get to the data, this would give consumers assurance that it's only accessible by them and that the company would not be able to obtain it without permission. This can be done through the iRobot app or through a website that could also encourage users to set up an account with iRobot. The pros of this would be that the safety and storage of vacuum mapping would be emphasized for the company. Users would have peace of mind knowing iRobot will require their permission each time they obtain the data. And the safety account is something that can place iRobot above competitors in the fact that it gives them a specific place where they know their data is being stored. The cons of this is that the development of the storage may be a high cost for iRobot. iRobot already requires permission to access data, so it also may be an unnecessary step. Without easy access to the data, it may be harder for iRobot to also research to improve on products. If users have more security, it also means there's less data going around for iRobot to improve on its Roombas and make them better than the competitors. The second alternative would be that iRobot can further inform consumers about the data retrieval. This would increase consumer knowledge and prevent the confusion that leads their concerns. The more consumers understand the product and what the data is actually being used for, the safer they'll feel with the purchase. Continuing the retrieval of data maps will allow iRobot to continue its work in trying to improve on the smart home. iRobot has stressed technology with its business model, and the technology that it wants to advance is to create a smart home with each user that the Roomba can connect to. This is difficult to do if you take away the permission to access the data. So instead, by informing consumers, you will be able to act on that and make them more assured that their data is safely handled. The pros of this is that the mapping will be more understood, leading to improved opinions about the data retrieval. This method is also cost-effective due to the fact that it is purely just informing the public, and the methods used for mapping will lead to consumers asking competitors the same questions. They'll be asking other robotic vacuum companies how they use their data and how they take it in when Roomba is being clairvoyant and being clear to the consumers. The cons of this is that the transparency may lead to other unanswered questions about the data being asked. Mapping techniques that aren't patented could be copied by competitors as well. Being clear with the consumers means also being clear with the competition. And this, if not treated carefully, can lead to them rising their products as well. iRobot will also have to change the design of the packaging for their future products in order to reflect the data and be more clear on how the retrieval happens. The third alternative would be that iRobot can update the privacy policy to be more specific and state that it will not sell private information without the request of the user. The CEO already stated the company would not sell private information, so making the privacy policy more specific of the data uses would be in line with that statement. Updating the policy would also be useful should iRobot end up in any lawsuits regarding that data. The pros are having the updated privacy policy would fill in loopholes. This would prevent potential lawsuits. It would also be cost and time effective, as all they would have to do is make the policy more available. The policy would reflect the CEO's statement and reflect honesty in the company. The cons of this are that users could still overlook the policy and have misconceptions about the product. This would limit iRobot's abilities to use the retrieved data, as people already overlooked the privacy policy, so why would they not continue to do so? Changing the policy would also indicate the company's current policy was not up to standard, representing fault in the company. If they have to change the policy, it shows that they wrote it in a way initially that people overlooked, and that they weren't being clear and transparent with their users. With the other trade-off analysis, we decided to put more on customer satisfaction due to the fact that the main problem is customers' viewpoint of how they take in data. With this option and with the weights, we also decided the second option was the best to inform the customers. So here are the recommendations and implementations based off of that data. We decided on alternative 2 for the first problem, and to use current awards claims and tech advantages of the Roombas and launch a promotional campaign justifying the price. The reason is this would update the Roomba packaging, contain reviews and recommendations, and also launch a series of promotions that lets individuals know what they're paying for and why they're paying the prices they are. It will also include features that Roomba offers that are above the competitors, and also represent Roomba as the original robot vacuum. However, it'll have new and improved updates. Similar to how Apple sells its iPhones every year and creates new updates, and everyone always wants the new, Roomba will be able to represent its new vacuums as new and something that they should purchase every year over Shark and other competitors. This would solve the root problem by creating a need in customers to purchase the robotic vacuums based off of the quality and not being concerned about the price. It would also let the consumers know what they are paying for and what they are missing out on by not paying for those features. The impacts on the functional areas would be that on the production side, they would have to reproduct the packages in order to have to redesign and implement all new data on them in order to make them more appealing and display more of the offers that each Roomba has to offer. On the financial side, there would be increased expenses for the upgraded packaging and for the promotional output in forms of advertisements and training for the Roomba sales teams. In addition to the promotional material, IT would have to put up more product knowledge onto the app and website. HR would have to hire and qualify trainers with knowledge about the products to sell the Roombas and to teach retailer salesmen about the products as well. Retailers have been recommending other products over Roomba, so training them about the product and letting them know what deal they're getting would help Roomba in the end. On the marketing side, this would be releasing the advertisements and any promotions and placing them in tech magazines, social media, and on television. They would also use outreach and utilize SEO to increase Roomba popularity. For customer service, it would be learning about the product knowledge so that they could assist customers in any way and to assist with the product tech. The action plan and time frame of this would be to redesign the product packaging and to include the information. This would take 1 month. To begin manufacturing and distribution of the new packages, it would take around 3 weeks. Design of the promotional content to release with new packaging would be 2 weeks. The outreach to retailers and on social media and utilizing the new content will begin immediately upon the completion of the content. The update of the iRobot home app with the new information would take around a week, and the content and connections to increase iRobot's SEO would be around a month. For the second problem, we also went with alternative 2, which would be to further consumer knowledge about data retrieval and to prevent confusion that leads to their concerns. This would disclose the information and show how they retrieved the data mapping, stored it, and how they did not sell it. The company could hold a series of press conferences regarding its Roomba products in which it demonstrates the specific data retrieval methods. They could also set everything up on the website to display the information that they're showing at the press conferences, and notifying customers through the app or email if there are any requests to sell the data. For solving the root problem, the main concern of privacy of iRobot's data retrieval was that the customers were unaware of how their data was being used once the Roombas were beginning the mapping. Showing them how the data is used and that it isn't being sold but being used to improve upon the products might alleviate their worries and instill a sense of trust with the company. Once again, the CEO had already come out and said iRobot does not sell consumer data, so letting customers know that the data is retrieved solely to make the product useful, the business will be in line with its message that the CEO delivers. On the functional areas, the Roombas will be released with a document included with the instructions that outlines how the data is retrieved and why it's collected. Financially, they will have to financially supply the press conferences and the payment of new customer service representatives. IT will have to add sections to the app and the website containing specific data retrieval information and a section to reach the new customer service representatives. HR will hire, train, and manage the new customer service reps. Marketing will begin to market the Roombas as safe data retrieval, ensuring its authenticity and questioning competing brands. Once Roomba shows that it's safely retrieving data, all the other vacuums will be questioned as to how they are doing it as well, making Roomba look ahead of the game. The team will also have to set up and run the press conferences demonstrating the product's data use. Finally, customer service will have to create new customer service reps with knowledge concerning specifically data retrieval that would be hired and available through the app and website. The organization and the preparation of the press conferences would take 3 months, a good amount of time in order to make sure they run smoothly. There will be multiple demonstrations based on the different Roomba series, as not all of them even require Wi-Fi connection or data sharing. Having IT set up a data sharing page on the app and a website with information on the methods and how specific models retrieve data would take 10 days. Once again, not all series utilize the same data retrieval. Hiring and training the customer service representatives would take around 2 months, and including the copy of the privacy policy would only take around a week, just so users are aware that there is also an opt-out option. In conclusion, looking at both problems, we really discovered that iRobot's biggest issue was the consumer knowledge regarding the product. In the first problem, it was mostly due to the product's features and believing that it wasn't worth the price. And for the second problem, it was that the robot was using the data knowledge to be sold instead of for its quality. Increasing consumer awareness for the product will raise its value in the minds of customers and show it as a higher quality product than competitors have to offer. Thank you so much for listening to our presentation, and we will be happy to answer any questions you may have in the discussion forum. Thank you.